Liebe Leute, wir alle wissen, Call of Duty ist eine der Serien, die auf der Welt zu den größten Videospielserien überhaupt gehört und jedes Jahr erwartet wird wie nochmal was. Deswegen habe ich jetzt den Jay bei mir. Jay, you're currently working on the new Call of Duty Black Ops 2, a game that a lot of people are waiting for. We just had a little presentation. You showed us a lot of new stuff out of the single-player campaign, out of multiplayer, the zombie mode and everything. So let's get straight down to it, the single-player mode. This time around, you have the Strike Force levels, which every once in a while in the campaign mode, player will be able to choose which Strike Force level he plays, and they're more of an open environment where you have to certain goals that you have to fulfill. You talked about something where you can actually pull back and give commands to your squad. Is that something that in this mode you can play the whole mode like this? Like you can only give commands, you don't have to jump into first person action and just command them?
Absolutely, right? So depending upon how those Strike Force levels are laid out, you can actually choose how you want to play them. So if you want to play just in Overwatch mode, set up your troops, right, to make sure that they're protecting particular objectives, or if you want to take control, it gives the players the option to do either one.
Okay. Then another thing that you're introducing for the single-player campaign is creator class. How does this work with single-player? Is it for the whole single-player? Is it just for the Strike Force levels? And how is it different to creator class and multiplayer?
Right. So you can do these on the single-player campaigns, where you can, in the beginning of the level, you'll actually have, you know, what our recommendation is. But if you want to go in and try something a little bit different, there's along the ways you can actually unlock some of that content in that creator class to where it allows a player. So if you want to try it just as an SMG, you can do that, right? So again, really making sure our players have a lot of different ways to actually go into those levels, replayability, and find out the type of game, the way you want to play the game.
And how is it different to the creator class and multiplayer?
So it's a little bit different where it doesn't necessarily have the same pick 10 system. So the content's available, it's unlocked a little bit different, but again, most of the same functionality.
Okay, then also you said you want to make the villain someone who's very memorable. How are you doing this? How can you characterize him for us a little bit?
Yeah, he's a mean guy. He's a mean guy. So we worked with David Goyer, who wrote obviously the Dark Knight trilogy, and you know when you look at his villain, the Joker, right, and how you sympathize with him, where you've known this Joker guy for a while, but it's like he offered a little different take. So we wanted that same kind of energy, that same kind of way to create this character in Raul Menendez for us in Black Ops 2.
So, you know, we've seen a lot of stuff in the Call of Duty universe. It started, you know, in the World War II. It moved to the present. It moved to the past with Black Ops again, and now you're moving to the future. I mean, what else is there left for you guys to do within the next game? Because we all know there is going to be a next game. But I mean, what's there left to do? Are we going to see an MMO? Are we going to see even a more open approach? Since you're already introducing Strike Force levels,
right? You know, we've been so focused on making sure Black Ops 1 gets out this November 13th that, you know, for me to speculate what the future holds is a little premature.
Okay, all right, just you know, just ask.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So let's get to multiplayer mode. You're doing some new stuff again. We're going to see Kill Confirmed again and Hardpoint. How come Kill Confirmed is back? And tell us a bit more about Hardpoint, please.
So I mean, Kill Confirmed is a great game mode. One of the things that our fans love Kill Confirm, or excuse me, the players who play Call of Duty have liked that. But for us, we're introducing also multi-team, right? So you go 3v3 or 3v4, so 3 teams of 3 or 3 teams of 4. So now you're really looking at these small tactical units that not only are you focused on making sure you get the tags of the fallen victims, but also protecting your own. So really that communication and working as a small tactical unit in Kill Confirm is a complete blast.
And Hardpoint?
Hardpoint, again, traditional King of the Hill, where you're all focused on one particular point that you're trying to capture. And so as that moves throughout the map, again, you can do that in regular, or you can also do that in multi-team as well.
Then you're introducing something that's called, for the creator class, it's called Pick 10. How does that work?
Pick 10 is one of those things where, when we start talking about something new for new players, right, or even old players, and what's something different that we've done that through Pick 10, which allows players to pick any 10 pieces of content they want in their particular loadouts. So in the past, you've had to have a primary or a secondary as an example. In this one, if you don't want to run a primary, you don't have to. If you want to use our wild cards that break the rules of Pick 10, you can run around with just a knife and 6 perks if you want. So again, really allowing our players a lot of variety in their loadouts and really, try different things and have players, experience that content differently.
So basically, if I wanted to, I couldn't add, don't have to add any add-ons to my weapons, and instead I could use more perks?
That is correct.
So isn't that tough to balance this gameplay then, though? Because, you want to give every player pretty much the same chance?
Right. So for us, the development team, the MP team is really focused on making sure that whatever you do to modify your weapon stays on your weapon, right? So it gives them the ability to actually look at each individual piece of content and balance it accordingly. So it's not necessarily as difficult as you would think.
Okay. Then also tell me about the token system. How does that work?
So the tokens, as you start your level progression, right, from level 1 through 55, you will actually earn a token, an unlock token that will allow you to actually unlock that content for use in your creative class. So again, as you're ranking up, there's more content that becomes available. So you'll have more content than tokens. So really driving that player choice of what kind of player do you want to try? What kind of weapons do you want to do? So really making sure the players are actually able to pick their loadouts that best represent them and their playstyle.
And how do the prestige tokens fit into this then?
So again, when you prestige, you're actually going to be able to get what we're calling a prestige token that'll allow you to actually unlock any token regardless of the gate. So if you have a particular gun that you're working on at level 55, or excuse me, let's say at 40, that it unlocks, when you prestige, you can actually use your prestige unlock token to unlock that content permanently.
So, out there's many people that are really, really good at Call of Duty, especially when it comes to the multiplayer mode. How are you helping people that maybe aren't familiar with the franchise yet to get into multiplayer mode so that they can basically train for the real deal?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked, because it's really important for us that regardless if you've played multiplayer or not, we really want you to try it. So we've created what we're calling combat training. It was in Black Ops 1. It's back. It's got 3 new modes: boot camp, objective, and bot stomp. And what it allows players to do is go in and actually play against bots to understand how the game mechanics work, how the maps work, where the choke points are, how to play those particular modes. And it really allows players to go in a much safer environment to understand how the maps work and how the unlocks work.
Okay. And then for, of course, the guys that are really good, there's esports, something that is very popular nowadays. And you're doing something that's called CoD casting. Tell us a bit about that. Go into a little bit of detail, please. What people will be able to do, especially when it comes to spectating matches.
Yeah, again, as you mentioned, esports is super important for us this time around. CoD casting is a new feature that allows players to actually go in and not only watch these matches, but also listen to those matches. So you can actually go in, follow a particular match, and barely think of it as a sporting event where you can actually follow particular players. You can actually see them, their nameplate on the back, sort of their jersey on the back, to know who you're following. So all those things that you would want to be able to spectate for, we've actually have all those features in the CoD casting.
All right, and then coming to the zombie mode, which is something that we've had on and off in Germany over here because, the people are very strict when it comes to violence here in this country. What's new this time around?
So for us, again, we're very happy that, you guys will be able to experience zombies. We actually have a couple of modes for zombies. We have what we call Transit, which is our story mode. It's 1 to 4 player co-op. It's our largest world ever. It allows players to go and experience the story. So this is, again, certain things happened on the moon, let's just say, from Resurrection, Black Ops 1, our DLC. And then we also have survival mode, which is sort of your typical customized area that will have the pack-a-punch, the mystery box that everybody enjoys. So there's a lot of stuff here for zombies.
In zombie mode, what we saw there's a bus, and I guess we can use this in the game. How does the bus work?
Yeah, the bus is a new play mechanic that we've introduced into zombies this time around for Black Ops 2. It actually allows you to actually navigate the map itself, so players can jump on the bus as a team, or if you want to go in by yourself, you can. Or we've also introduced what we're calling buildables in the environment. So if you happen to know where a particular buildable is and you're at a particular level, maybe you tell your buddy to get on the bus to go get it, and we'll meet you back here.
So basically there will be happening 2 battles on the front, so I can fight in one area and my buddy will take the bus and do battle somewhere else?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you just said in the presentation you've got the 3 pillars. You've got the single player, you've got multiplayer, and you've got the zombie mode. One thing that I was missing is co-op mode. Is there some sort of co-op mode in there?
For us, co-op mode is zombies. It's 1 to 4 players co-op. So for us, that's where all our co-op fans will have fun in there.
So fans are always worried about how long the single-player campaign is going to be. In the past, there has been somewhat a bit of disappointment because there hasn't been more than 5 to 6 hours of gameplay. Do you know how long it's going to be this time around?
Again, it really depends on the skill level of the players, but when you start looking at the Strike Force levels themselves, you start looking at some of the branching storylines, I assure you, the length of the single-player everybody's going to be very excited about.
Would you say Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is more of a single player or more of a multiplayer game? Which is more important to you guys?
You know, they all are, right? So it's never been about one particular mode. I think you saw in the presentation, and when you start to look at all the content that's on this disc and all the innovation that we've been driving, not only on the single player, the multiplayer, and the zombies, it's really a complete package, right? There's a lot of content on this disc, regardless of skill level, regardless of what you like. If you're a multiplayer guy, there's a lot of stuff. The single player, again, with created class and some of the other things we're doing with the Strike Force levels, zombies, the largest world ever. I mean, we can, you know, there's just a lot of content on this disc. So really to think about, you know, any one particular, you know, there's just too much stuff on this disc.
Are you worried about that, you know, in online boards, sometimes we go, oh, Call of Duty, every year it's the same, blah, blah, blah. Is that something that worries you, or that that you listen to, that is in the back of your head, or you're just like, whatever?
I think it's a combination of both, right? I think, you know, if, you know, when you have as many fans as we do, right, that there's always going to be people who think we could do things a little bit better here or differently there. But when you start to look at, like I mentioned before, all of the stuff that we're doing across all of the different particular pillars, I think anybody's going to be very hard pressed to say we just, you know, we're continuing to do the same thing over and over again.
When will it be out?
November 13th this year.
Alright, thank you very much. Also am 13. November ist es soweit. Das, was wir hier sehen konnten, war äußerst spektakulär, als wir uns dort hier gerade eben durch Myanmar gekämpft haben. Das sah wirklich sehr cool aus. Erst mit einem Base-Jump und dann gab es jede Menge Future-Tech zu sehen, wie ein Visier, das so ein bisschen so eine Radarfunktion hatte, wo man eben dann auch so ein bisschen die Feinde durch Wände sehen konnte. Es gab unsichtbare Feinde, es gab EMP-Granaten. Das Ganze ist inszeniert wie ein krasser Action-Blockbuster, das muss man einfach sagen. Und das reißt natürlich auch mit und sieht nach sehr viel Spaß aus. Ich bin mir sicher, wir werden auch bald eine Version bekommen und dann werden wir damit richtig loslegen können. Ich freue mich auf jeden Fall drauf, denn ich bin gespannt, wie Treyarch es schafft, dieses Thema Zukunft in ihrem Spiel zu verarbeiten.